Hey folks, Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Here we go, BangTheBook.com. It's that time of year. Let the madness begin. And we're going to have a preview for all the regions, all kinds of great information for you. We'll be taking you around Las Vegas this week as well. And of course, you'll get great information with our buddy Adam Burke on the Sports Betting Podcast. Let's start with the East Regional. Duke is the odds-on favorite at 5-8, the top team in the tournament. From the seeding perspective, the one gripe that a lot of people had was Michigan State second choice at 11-4. If they were under consideration to be a 1, how did they end up in the same region and ultimately have to go through Duke before the Final Four? It looks like it's a fast track for those two teams to collide. Virginia Tech is 10-1, LSU is 12-1, but they've got big question marks that we'll get into. Maryland, 25-1, maybe a value play there. And let's just dive in because it looks like it's a clear path for Duke to the Final Four. But let's get you some games in the first round that we think can be profitable for you. And we'll start with the Thursday games in Jacksonville. Again, Maryland's going to face the winner of Belmont and Temple, waiting for their opponent. The one thing with Maryland, they got some really good players, Bruno Fernandez and the freshman Jalen Smith. So they got tons of talent, but there's a level of inconsistency that's in play here. They could get hot. They could get on a run, but there's a team that really limped into the NCAA tournament. An interesting game is the 3 seed LSU against Yale. Now, LSU's without their head coach, and that just begs all kinds of questions. What could happen in a close game and an element of consistency with matchups during the course of a game. In this particular game, we saw LSU open 8. It's down to 7.5. The total on the game is 160.5. LSU's a solid young team, but there's inconsistency. Yale, pretty smart, disciplined team, obviously, but a team that can provide some offense and know they'll get support as the Cinderella in Jacksonville. I think this is a game that goes over the total of 160. That should be a fun game to watch. Then Thursday in Des Moines, you get a low-scoring Louisville team, number 7 seed, against the 10 seed Minnesota, who's a 5-point favorite. They bet the total up from 134 to 136. And the one thing we're staring at here is the subplot and the committee, and this will bleed into some other games in the tournament. But they always have that little, game within the game and the story within the game. And of course, it's Rick Pitino's kid coach in Minnesota going against Louisville. Then you've got Michigan State against Bradley, the 2 seed. Kyle Aaron's ankle injury is going to be out for the tournament. It should not impact Michigan State here. But for long-term success, we'll see what it means. 20 points was the line opening up. It's bet down to 18. Total on the game is 133.5. All right, we go to Friday games, where Duke will play in Columbia, South Carolina, sitting there waiting on the winner of one of the first 4 games, North Carolina Central and North Dakota State. But the real interesting game is the 8-9 matchup. And we're looking at VCU, who was the regular season champ in the A10. There's a team comfortable in their own skin in this tournament. They were the best regular season team in the A10. But they're going against UCF, and we're going to watch this matchup. There's 2 players. B.J. Taylor's a terrific player for Central Florida. But Taco Fall, 7'6" center. Some claim he's even 7'7". That's an intriguing matchup, and on paper it is too. UCF's a 1-point favorite. They have bet the total up from 124.5. It is up to 127.5. So that is one of the really more intriguing games you're staring at there. All right, then we go to San Jose with Mississippi State taking on the number 12 Liberty Flames. Now, we know the 5-12 history here, where a 12 always, for the most part, gets a win in the tournament. The thing that scares me is that everybody's kind of landed on Liberty. When everybody's on the same side, that can be dicey. But this Flames offense is very systematic and fluid. It's a well-coached basketball team. In Mississippi State, really athletic, but at times inconsistent. This is a game, you could have runs during the course of the game, in-play wagering. Maybe it's Liberty in the first half before athleticism takes over. We're looking at Mississippi State here in this spot. 7.5 down to 6.5. But they have bet the total up from 135 to 137. And I do think that's a game that could feature points. And then the 4-13 matchup is Virginia Tech against St. Louis. Buzz Williams, terrific coach. 9.5-point favorite here on the Hokies. Total on the game is 126. Yeah, this is a team that on any given night, can beat anybody. They beat Duke, but there's something about familiarity. The one thing, St. Louis in the A-10 tournament, they made a run. They got a break. I think Mark Schmidt with St. Bonaventure made countless coaching errors in the game. I personally think St. Bonaventure should have won the game, but St. Louis gutted it out. But one thing I would say to you, I would look for this game to go under the total of 126. St. Louis really struggles from three-point land, and now they're facing the bigger boys. Will be tough for them in the paint. But the one thing that really is part of the equation here is St. Louis is just horrific at the free throw line. So I look for that game to go under the total, Virginia Tech in St. Louis. It's the East region. It looks like Duke. It looks like a Duke-Michigan State matchup, but I think clearly Duke should advance to the Final Four. There's a peek at the East region. More to come. Lots more to come as we get ready for the NCAA Tournament right here from Las Vegas at BangTheBook.com.